Wild track narration. CW4 Carter James, Harbor Master.
The U.S. Army Harbor pilots for Vietnam. We have them at Cam Ranh Bay, Quinh Nhan, and Tam Mae. These pilots are selected on the basis of their background, experience, and their ability as a ship handler. They must be fully qualified to handle the largest ships arriving in Vietnam, which includes the large C-4Js, which are almost 700 feet long. The pilots, once they're selected, are assigned to the various ports, and whenever the ships are scheduled to arrive at the base, the harbor master gets the schedule of the ship arrivals, and then he calls the duty pilot. The pilots in turn then are alerted to stand by to go aboard the vessel. On the arrival of the sea buoy, the pilots are picked up, taken down to the tugboats. The tugboats proceeds out to the pilot station and puts the pilot aboard the ship. During this time, the pilot has to consider several factors. First of all is how many tugs he'll need when he brings the ship into the pier, what pier he's bringing it into and which side. Also, he will consider the current and the wind and what adverse conditions that he may face. As soon as the pilot goes on the bridge of the ship, he normally assumes command of the vessel. And during this time that he's in command, he gives all of the directions for the movement of the vessel, although the master of the vessel remains responsible for the ship itself. Approaching the pier, the pilot has to continuously correct his approach so that his approach is timely, and at the same time he must rely on the tugs to follow his commands. One of the difficult problems in handling the ships here in Vietnam is the fact that our pilots are constantly working with 3 different nationalities on the tugboats. These nationalities include the American GIs that are manning the Army harbor tugs. The second class, we have contract Filipino crews. Some of them are Korean crews, and in the case here at Cam Ranh Bay, we have Vietnamese crews manning 2 Army vessels. Now, the total horsepower at Cam Ranh Bay amounts to 3,600 horsepower, which is a very small amount, but the pilots bring the vessels in during all types of weather and 24 hours a day. The one problem by talking to 3 different nationalities at one time on one ship move, of course, adds to the hazard of handling a vessel and making the vessel go exactly where you want it to go. Now, we have in Cam Ranh 6 tugs to perform this service. 3 of them are the Luzon, Stevedore, and Company tugs, 420 horsepower each, 2 Army 65-foot tugs, 1 manned by a civilian crew, and 100-foot tug manned by a Vietnamese crew. The average number of ships that the pilots will handle here at Cam Ranh Bay average between 125 and 200 ships per month. The size of these ships run from the T1 to the C1 type class, which is a small vessel about 326 feet in length, up to the T5 and the C4Js, which run up to 685 to 95 feet. Now, these vessels are the largest vessels plying the waters of Vietnam, and requires, again, the highest skill in ship handling to negotiate. The ships going into the ammo channel are carrying special cargo. They have to negotiate a narrow channel, which requires the greatest degree of skill, taking the vessel through this channel, even under the ideal conditions. With the small number of tugs that we have available, makes it a very hazardous situation. In addition to this, when the vessels arrive at the ammo pier, they have to turn around in a narrow turning basin and back in alongside of the pier. This is so that the vessels will be able to head straight out in the event of emergency to take them off. On the T2s and T5s, we have 2 jetties that the pilots have to bring the vessels in alongside. They must anchor the vessel and then use mooring buoys to tie the ship up. This becomes extremely hazardous and requires the greatest degree of skill whenever the wind is blowing from either the northeast or southwest, which is prevailing at this port. Normally the wind is 45 to 65 knots during the monsoon season. Another additional burden to the pilot is the fact that during alerts that we have here, the pilots must be responsive 24 hours a day. They have to be able to be on immediate call, be put out on the vessels, and in the event of an attack, the vessels have to be taken off under the actual attack itself. In addition to the hazards of the navigation, it adds to the personal danger of the pilots. You could say that the duty of the pilot at Cam Ranh Bay is a 24-hour-a-day job. This job requires a pilot to be available to handle the ships. Normally, as soon as he gets one vessel tied up, he has to leave immediately on a tugboat to go to another vessel to take the vessel out. And of course, the reward for the pilot doing this type duty is the fact that he knows that the job is done well and that the mission of the Transportation Corps is being forwarded.
End sound tape reel number 1.